editing, Bailey here. Okay, so I filmed the intro to this video at some point, but I don't know where the footage went. The beginning of this vlog was kind of a mess. It initially started as a Camp Nano vlog, and it quickly became not a Camp Nano vlog. Eventually, I realized that I guess I'm not doing Camp Nano, or I'm not doing the same kind of Camp Nano I went into it thinking I was going to. And it's more of a plotting and brainstorming vlog. So this is me plotting out my new middle grade idea and kind of talking about that. So I'm gonna jump to a new clip that I just filmed, and hopefully this gives you a better intro and it makes sense, but it was filmed today, not the beginning of this vlog, so yeah, okay, thanks. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Bailey and I'm a middle grade writer. So this is gonna be me talking about brainstorming my new middle grade idea. It's a middle grade fantasy, maybe a middle grade contemporary fantasy. And I guess let's just kind of get into it. So let's go. So this project, I'm not quite sure how much of it I'm gonna share on here, because it's gonna change. It always does, and yeah. But it's a middle grade fantasy idea right now. It might be contemporary fantasy. Right now, I think it's just fantasy. I think it's gonna be fantasy. It's definitely grounded fantasy. It's not high fantasy, which is kind of why I'm like, maybe it'll be contemporary. Right now, I think it's just gonna be straight fantasy, but we will see. So one of my favorite things to do when I come up with new projects is come up with a location. Locations are really where my ideas kind of come from. Part of that's just like the fantasy stuff, the spooky stuff, combine it into one. It just, that's my favorite part of it. So like with my YA thriller right now, it's an isolation thriller. And so the first thing I came up with that one is the location. So yeah. So for this one, I have a main location, I guess, of where this stuff takes place. There's gonna be this, how much of this do I want to? It's still all kind of forming in my mind, but basically there's gonna be this location, and my main character is going to have heard rumors and stories about this location and kind of want to know more, and then stuff ensues. So it's kind of where I'm gonna leave that right now. I don't have any names yet, but I guess we can talk about how I come up with names. A lot of times I can't build my characters until I really know their name. And it usually just I think of a name and I'm like, oh, that's their name. And then I have a hard time when I have to change them. I'm not usually too attached to names, but once a character, at least a main character, has their name, I really have to build them out, and if I change their name, I have to change some stuff about them to be able to be this is who they are now, if that makes any sense at all. But that's where I'm at right now. So the first thing I do is create a new Scrivener file. So I have a template saved for my projects. This is a typical setup for my middle grade projects. It's a 34 chapter outline, and I have it broken up into all of the different Save the Cat beats. This is just kind of my guide, and then I adjust it as I go. So that's kind of what I do first. Ooh. So this is kind of where I have fun with it. This is where I come up with fun scenes that I want to include, fun world building things that come to mind, anything that I've already, the stuff that has been enough stuff for me to know that I want to make this into my next project, all goes in here in the brainstorming section. And then from there, I will break it out into other things, other sections as well, but everything just kind of gets dumped in here, and it's usually a mess. So I brainstormed a little bit. I have like blurbs. Goodness, that is crooked. Whatever. Okay, so I brainstormed a little bit, and I just kind of have like a big blob of brain dump written down on this page so far. But I came up with a really fun world building piece that I'm sorry, I'm not going to fully explain on here, but it like clicked with a couple of other things, and now I'm getting really excited about this book, and now I'm like, do I start like really thinking about drafting this one next? Do I pause the thriller? Do I do both? I don't know, but I'm having a fun time plotting this. So next, I think I'm going to work on the characters. There are lots of monsters in this book, and I'm trying to figure out how those monsters work, what those monsters look like, if it'll be like well-known monsters, made-up monsters, obscure monsters, shadowy monsters, like how it's gonna all work. So that's kind of what I'm working on next. But I'm having fun. This is a lot of fun. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you right now. But I'm gonna dive into crafting some of my characters. And I will let y'all know when I finish at least a little bit of that, so, okay. Okay, I'm gonna make this quick. It is 8 o'clock. I need to shower and get ready for bed. My makeup is disgusting. But I have done a little bit more brainstorming tonight. I have mostly come up with different ideas for the monsters and stuff. I decided to make my own monsters. Kind of like derive different kinds, but for the most part make up different kind of monsters. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. I have a couple of different ideas of ones like that I know I want to use, but I don't have any of like the main characters set in stone yet. These dogs. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I'm just mostly working on the characters. My dogs are being incredibly loud right now, so I'm gonna let you go and I will catch up with y'all in the morning. Okay, it is Thursday now. I didn't update y'all yesterday because it was a migraine day for me. So I did do a little bit of work though. I just didn't have the energy to film. I mostly just kind of came up like looking on Pinterest, coming up with different ideas for different kinds of monsters to include in the book, and working a little bit on my characters, still working on my character arcs and stuff, and then also brainstorming with my boyfriend. It's really helpful for me to just kind of like say stuff aloud and then see like what his reaction is, and then we kind of like go back and forth on different like ideas, and he's super helpful. He's not a writer, but he's a reader, so that's fun. So we did a little bit of that. And I've got a little bit down, not too much. Again, like I said, I didn't do all that much yesterday, but today I'm hoping to get some more done. So I have kind of like a group of kids in this book that I'm working on. I fleshed them out a little bit. Yes, I'm hoping to do a lot more today and then also come up with the plot stuff. So I'm like feeling totally absorbed and super excited about this book. I am thinking it's gonna be in first person. From writing some of my other books, I've realized one of my weak points is like feelings. Having like the main character's feelings come across well, and I realized that I find it easier for me to do if I'm doing it in first person, because that like internal dialogue, I'm not very good at it if it's in third person, and I really struggle with it. I struggle with it in general, but I think this is going to need to be in first person. And it might be in present tense. I'm still deciding. I normally always write past tense, so we'll see, because I'm not looking forward to doing it in present tense, but I think it might work better, because it's, again, a spooky middle grade. I don't know if I really told you all that much. A spooky middle grade fantasy, I guess. So kind of that stuff, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I will update y'all once I actually do something, so I'll catch y'all later. Now I'm coming up with names for my characters, which I find to be really fun. The main character, I decided to pull a name from a different work in progress that I have worked on that's currently on pause because I really like that name. And then I'll either rename that character, or if this book doesn't end up going anywhere, then I will use that name for that book again. So that's how I got the main character's name, but the like side characters, I am having a lot of fun just like going through and like finding different fun spooky names. Some of them just like automatically like kind of come to mind, and then other times I Google just spooky names and then come up with different things, different spooky last names that I compare them with. I like to have my, like if I'm writing a spooky book, I like to have my character names, all of them feel spooky, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. And then I'm gonna be trying to figure out how to organize the second half of the book. I think I've got the first half down, which I'm excited about because that came quickly. Sorry, this is not a good angle. Let's try. Where was I? I'm going to be working on that. So one thing that I do is I have this Excel document that I use to plot out all of the beats. So let me pull it up and I will show you what I'm talking about. So this is my plotting document. I have little tabs on the bottom for each of my projects. I just kind of go through and add in different parts. I usually know my hook, that top one, the catalyst, and then the midpoint, and then I kind of just plop in different ideas that I think would be fun to have in the book. So if I have like a random scene that I'm like, oh, that would be fun, I put it in. That's really all I kind of do because that's, I don't know, I guess I'm still more of a pantser than a plotter, but I've been having fun like kind of coming up with different ways to make this work because I have found that it makes my revisions so much easier. So I really need to actually like figure out how to get this to work properly for me. So that's kind of how I plot, I guess, how I come up with like the basic structure of my book. I currently know the opening image, like the things that I mentioned. Those are the things that I know up to now. I know some parts of the fun and games, not all of it. So today I'm gonna really try to work on coming up with ideas for the second half of the book. I have an idea kind of for how the finale is gonna go, but it's not set in stone. I need to figure out how to get from the midpoint to the finale still, so there's that. But that's kind of where I am. So I will update y'all once I actually do something. Okay, so this is a terrible angle. But today we took the pups to get groomed, and now I'm gonna write a little bit or brainstorm a little bit, and I will update y'all with whatever I get done. Apparently this is just my filming spot. The lighting is not good. Hold on one second. That's a little better, I guess. Anyway, let's see. So I took the pups to get groomed, and it's the next day. So I think I'm gonna wrap up the vlog here. I got a lot of plotting in today, which is really fun. I finally have like nailed down some of the pieces of my first act. There's always that kind of, not always I guess, but oftentimes at least like especially in middle grade, there's like 3 obstacles. A lot of things like come in 3s. It's probably across the board for fiction in general, but I know specifically in middle grade that happens a lot. And so I've come up with a couple of different things that I need to happen. So I'm actually really excited about that. I brainstormed with my boyfriend a lot. We kind of talked out some things that would need to happen. This book initially had a 24-hour timeline. So I was trying to cram everything in here all at once, and it just wasn't quite working. My AMM book it did take place in about probably 12 hours, like in one day. And this one it wasn't working for this one. I tried doing something similar. It's got kind of similar vibes, but it wasn't working. And so then I realized that, okay, maybe I'll do 48 hours, which would work, I think. But then some of the things that I want to, like some of the scenes that I know I want to happen take place at night. And if I have 48 hours, that gives me basically one night to play with, because the last night would have to be like the other, like the thing that has to happen at the end of the 48 hours. So that it doesn't give me enough time. So right now I'm thinking it's gonna be 72 hours. I guess we'll just kind of see if I keep that. It does need to have like a time thing. Oh man, the glare in my glasses. Let's just do that for a little bit. So yeah, it does need to have like a specific timeline. Something has to happen by this time, and I think it's gonna end up being 72 hours, which I like that. I can fit everything in here perfectly, but I don't know if that sounds too random. It feels like 72 hours is kind of like a random amount of time. So I have to figure out how to make that work, like, to make it sound reasonable, I guess. So I guess we'll kind of see if I can do that. If not, I'll just have to like refigure some of the different things, and maybe I'll just make it, I don't know, maybe I'll make it a different kind of deadline instead of it being like hour-based. I'm not sure, but that's kind of where I'm at. So I kind of have my characters planned out, my first act planned out for the most part, and I have like a vague idea of the second half of the book, which is really how I start writing. So I think this is going to be like the end of me kind of vlogging. Hopefully this was kind of interesting. If not, I'm sorry. I don't really know what else to say about that, but I think it's gonna be the end of me vlogging my brainstorming process, because now I'm just gonna kind of like noodle on it. I have all of my stuff down. If I come up with ideas along the way, great. And I'll probably start drafting soon. I don't know if it will be this week. It might be next week. I'm getting my wisdom teeth out this week, so probably not the end of this week, but we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, and I'm really excited about this book. Maybe I'll play with some trope ideas. That could be kind of fun to do. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you are working on down below in the comments, and I will catch y'all next time. Bye!